Are there any classes right now that you, like you said, the civil rights and religion, but any new ones like that that you've taught recently that are sort of new ideas where you fused things together?
Well, I'm doing a new course on Mormonism. I did it at Dartmouth a couple of years ago, but it's the first time I've done it here as a lecture course, and that's a lot of fun. And that really grew out of, decades-long fascination with Mormonism and trying to figure it out. And I still don't have it all figured out, but I find it endlessly fascinating. And students seem to like that, so that's a new course. I did a course a couple years ago at Dartmouth also, Religion, Politics, and the Presidency, and I haven't yet transferred that over here. And I don't know if I will, or when I will do that, but I may at some point do that. But that's part of the wonderful thing about a teaching career, and you're just getting started, and you're brilliant, I'm sure, in the classroom just as you are as a scholar. But one of the nice things about reaching my age, where I'm starting to think about retirement, is how can I be a full citizen, not only of my profession, but also the university. How can I best serve the university? And part of that is a renewed interest and allegiance to teaching and to undergraduates. I love lecturing. I love doing lecture courses. I tend to get fairly large crowds, at least by Columbia standards. And so I'm starting to think about new courses that I might teach in the however many years I have left teaching.
Well, the Mormonism would be fun.
Mormonism is a lot of fun. It really is. And I learned so much myself. I mean, the old adage about you learn by teaching is absolutely true. I've learned more this semester, even though I taught the course once previously. Just writing lectures.
Yeah. Is there one gem like that you have in mind of something that you've learned as you've
About
taught?
Mormonism?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Mormonism. I'm always learning something on Mormonism. I guess, just to speak generally, what's so striking to me about Mormonism is that it's a quintessential American religion, in that it's, throughout its history, it certainly has American roots. There's no question about that, even though, well, I mean, even if you take the Book of Mormon at face value,
yeah.
You have the American genesis of the Book of Mormon, but also very American in the sense that Mormons are always reinventing themselves and kind of refashioning themselves so that they fit better, or probably the better word would be more effectively, into the American context. The constant process of reinvention is fascinating. I mean, one example, just a fairly prominent example over the last several decades, is the revelation that comes to Spencer Kimball, the president of the church in 1978, to ordain men of color for the first time. Now it's a radical departure. It's certainly a departure from the beliefs that we can trace back to Joseph Smith, but it set in motion this massive growth of Mormonism, not only here in this country, but more particularly in the rest of the world. And that's just one example of sort of adaptation to cultural circumstance. The Woodruff Manifesto in 1890 that comes suddenly that does away with polygamy. Well, that opens the way to statehood, but also opens the way to a kind of legitimacy for the Mormons within American society and in the eyes of the American government, that has led to the situation today, more than a century later, where Mormonism is kind of synonymous with patriotism and everything that's all American. Whereas in the 19th century, as you well know, Mormons were utterly persecuted by the government.
Yeah, it does seem like for Mormon historians, it's fascinating to recapture that adversarial or that kind of the conflict in those early years.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. And it's just, I mean, to kind of drop all pretense of objectivity. You look at Mormonism, you look at issues like the Book of Abraham and the Spalding manuscript and so forth, and you say, how in the world did they pull this off? But just to look at how they pulled it off is just fascinating stories.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, please,
Enjoyed it.
anytime, and my pleasure.